Why am I in media? I've always been told to shut up as a kid, like I don't matter. I have something to say, but th- it, but nobody wanted to hear it. I had the need to say what I had to say, that my words and my thoughts matter. And so I've done a lot of media work, such as serving as a newscaster and a DJ in some campus radio stations and my newspaper work for community papers and my blog and my podcast and my YouTube channel. They're my platforms and I express myself. And there's actually people thinking I have something important to say. That's important to me. You know, about the arts, some of the finest art in this country of any kind come from those disreputable people, the outcasts. I should relate to that. The rejected people in society. It's from these people that you get some of the such things as the tango, which was created in Buenos Aires brothels, and jazz, which was created in New Orleans brothels, and then mainstream society, whatever the hell that is, picks up on it. And 10 years later, it becomes not only respectable, but marketable. It's a commodity. And they forget where it comes from. As a kid, going to church, it was kind of like a job. Like as a kid, I was just dropped off at the church in time for Sunday school as the regular service was letting out. And I sat out the Sunday school and listened to what regular members of the congregation just try to serve us some sort of lesson, which apparently didn't take for some. So some of the kids got this teasing and bullying and harassment I had to put up with. Was there in the Sunday school by the other kids in the Sunday school. And maybe the situation was the same for them. Maybe they were just dropped off there by their parents. And they didn't take it seriously, but I did. And should I have? Nowadays, I think for myself a lot. I'm a deeply religious man. I always consider God, but how it was presented in that church, and by all those people who thought you were a joke, apparently it didn't take. As a kid, I was brought up with the idea that, well, there were these adults that said that boys don't cry. And I was a sensitive kid, very sensitive. I, if I, there were times when I was either hit in the face or on the head, or I was undergoing some distress, and I broke down crying. I, I broke down crying. And I was the bad guy for crying. Boys don't cry. What kind of lesson is that to tell young men growing up? You put up with abuse, humiliation, both physical, mental, and that's supposed to make you a hero? You have to question that. Growing up, I was brought with either or thinking. Is either this or the 180-degree opposite. That was the mindset I had. Or did I have it? But that was always how it was presented to me. And these dichotomies are false. Like hot and cold, dry, wet. How hot is hot and how cold is cold? How dry is dry? How wet is wet? It's like a continuum. There is varying degrees of going from hot to cold and vice versa. Just a matter of degree. And I hate to complain, but my parents were some of the worst. There were some very unhappy people. Very unhappy people. They were both racially and religiously prejudiced in their own way. But I didn't fall for that. I could never accept that. Just as that stuff that was called Christianity, that was brought up with Christianity in quotation marks, saying that that was the only way to go to heaven, I could never swallow that. I learned about other religions, Judaism, Islam, Buddhism. I'm particularly fascinated with all the religious phenomena from agnosticism to Zoroastrianism. And there are all these people trying to find a path to God. A lot of it depends on the culture you've been brought up with, the nationalities where you were born and raised in, and and like I said, some of the adults were just as bad as the kids. The teachers were no help in school. Either they treated me like I was the bad guy, or they joined right along with the bullying, or they just went ahead and make me look like a fool, make me act a fool. I didn't know I was acting foolish. But I have to leave that behind me. I'm in a far more empowered state than I've long been. Excuse me, check that. I have been in the past. And but that time I felt powerless and helpless around these people. that I believed that had the power over me, I'd have to give up my needs, my best interest, just so long as this person in power, being my father or some commanding officer in I had in the military, they had power over me, and I had to give up something that could have benefited me for their interests, so they wouldn't yell at me for not following their illusions or hallucinations. I believe I finally reached a state where my value I realized my value as a person, that my interest, my well-being is just as important as that of anybody else. And that helps in my political activism. We find these people, like today in this era, finding their value up against this wannabe dictatorship. Again, being ruled by this imbecile who, I'm not going to be nice about it. The guy is lower than the deep blue seas. And he's got, instead of this time having adult, mature, mainstream people with him, working for him, he's got these people who are just as bad as he is. But we're fighting back. I always love these stories about people fighting back against people stomping on them. And I'd always write about that whenever I can. It's very important to let everyone know that they're not alone. There are people in the same boat as you are. That it's okay to fight back, and it's healthy for you to fight back. And at this point, right now, I'm going to leave it at that. I have many, many more thoughts, and they're coming. Thank you for your time and attention. Have a good day.